Everybody, how's it going? Welcome to another installment of Cone on the Road. Today, I am, celebrating 8 years of making videos, or, doing this kind of stuff. And celebrate, it's a weird word. Am I really celebrating it? I'm looking back on it. I'm reminiscing a little bit and looking forward as well. I just by chance happened to see a post that was like, I think it was at the 1 year mark that I had been doing it, and it was just kind of funny to me because as I was reading it, I sounded so at least in text anyway, I seemed so hopeful and so happy and so like full of energy. And I don't know, maybe that was fake. It probably was. I was probably actually really not feeling too great. But it did make me think a little bit about how different things are 7 years later or 8 years later, and how much of an impact doing this stuff has made on my life, and how much of a good thing it ended up being, even if then it probably, even then it felt like a good thing, but then it was just an escape thing. It was a thing to do to kind of just get away from all the other stuff that I was doing, or just to give me something to strive for. And I am very much so a person that I have to have things to look forward to. Like, I have to keep planning ahead. I have to keep trying to do new things, or I don't just lose motivation. I lose overall motivation. Like, if I don't have something to try to look forward to, then I don't look forward to anything, and I just don't do anything, and I just become a blob. And I don't like to be that way. So even then, doing this kind of stuff for a living was a totally unrealistic goal. Like, it wasn't something that I actually thought was possible, but it was something I still strived for because I wanted to strive for it. And I was so deeply unhappy. I was unhappy with where I lived. I was unhappy with the job I did. I was unhappy with college. I was a deeply unhappy person 8 years ago. But doing this kind of stuff, it just gave me something that was kind of within my own control. Like, whatever I got out of this was whatever I put into it, and whatever I set my expectations to be. Like, there was nobody out there that was putting that pressure on me as to what I needed or needed to not do. And I think that was a big part of what made it such a big priority for me. It's what made it something that I dedicated myself to, because I just never had a situation like that before. So yeah, before I get like too wrapped up into reminiscing the then, the now, 8 years later, I certainly could not have predicted where I would be now. But more than that, I couldn't predict the how I would be where I am now. Like, I certainly would have no idea that live streaming, being on Twitch, would be a mainstay. That would be the thing that kind of like pushed this from something that I did as a hobby to something that I did for a living. So yeah, I certainly wouldn't have been able to predict that one. I wouldn't have predicted that I would use that as the launch pad to get myself in a better situation, to get myself in a permanent housing situation, to move out of the area that I hated and lamented for so many years. yeah, it's all very, very mind-blowing to me. So I question sometimes if I am not outwardly grateful enough. Like I hope that I am, but sometimes I worry that it doesn't come off to you, to a viewer, how appreciative of the fact that a relatively small group of people rallied around me and the stuff that I make enough to lift me out of a situation that I was deeply unhappy with to something that I'm honestly deeply happy with. Like I have this persona, I have this demeanor about me that I feel like comes off as not overly happy. I'm not a bubbly person, you know. I'm not. I don't post on Twitter that I'm #blessed, but I truly am very, very much so a happier and more fulfilled person now than I've ever been. Doesn't mean that everything is perfect, and I do still put a lot of pressure on myself to do better and to do more, chase more dreams and more goals. I'm still chasing the dream, honestly. I think I think if I gave myself the numbers 8 years ago, like if I just gave myself the numbers of like subscribers or viewers or followers or whatever in 2012, I guess 12, 13, whatever it was. If I just gave myself the numbers I have now, I probably wouldn't have been super excited. I don't know that I would have been disappointed, but I wouldn't have been like, wow, you really did it. I never thought you could actually do that. But it would be, I would have to explain to me how what I have has affected my life. And then maybe. It has also been a year since I moved to North Carolina. That has been quite a year. Of course, you know, I moved early January 2020, and to me, it was a monumental thing, and the beginnings of 2020 felt like the beginnings of a very special year to me. I'm not one that's like obsessed with 2020 was a terrible year. I can't wait for 2021 because it's literally just a measure. Like it's just a measure of time. Years have no actual power on your life. There's no actual like force saying that this year is a bad year or this year is a good year. But it's just something that we quantify time with and eras with. For me personally, 2020 was a year in which I experienced kind of the high point of my personal life while watching society around me kind of reach what I felt like its low points, which made it difficult. It made it difficult to feel okay about the fact that I felt that way, like that I felt so relieved and so excited and so satisfied. But overall, I'm just really excited about where I am now, and including the area. Looking back on that a little bit, a year of being up here, I've gotten pretty comfortable with it. I've certainly gotten more used to the area. I don't really experience very much of it. I go out exploring. I experience more of like the not man-made stuff, or just like some people move somewhere and get really excited for the attractions that are around there. I moved somewhere to get excited for the lack of attractions around there. Like, I got excited for the fact that I could go out and explore and not be surrounded by humans. Little did I know how important that was going to be in the year to come. Little did I know. But still, that's kind of where my mentality always has been, is that I wanted to be somewhere that I felt comfortable. Has there been drawbacks? Yes, there has been some drawbacks. I moved into a place that I thought I was going to have a lot of privacy and security with, because I pretty much wouldn't have immediate neighbors. Lo and behold, about halfway into it, I gained a neighbor. Somehow, I didn't think it was going to be possible, but I did. And that person ended up being a particularly terrible person. That has been probably the only major negative, but that's not a permanent thing. And I'm already taking steps to like try to regain some of the privacy and some of the independence that I had before. And I do think I will be able to figure that out in a way that I'm comfortable with. Moving away from my family for the first time in my life, and for the first time in any of our lives. Like, me, my brother, and my parents have always lived in the same area for 30-something years. 33 years, I guess. 32 years. So to be the first one to leave that bubble, and then leave that bubble on the year in which we ended up not being able to see each other very often, was difficult. Probably more for them than me, I'll be honest, because I am the way that I am. If I can communicate with them, if I can send them messages and, occasionally trade our stories, I'm pretty much okay. And I'm pretty much okay with anybody that way. Which I think is one of the reasons why it can be hard to know me, is that I don't necessarily need a lot of physical time around you to feel like, we're still friends. And that ends up in a situation where people that were my friends or are my friends, and I don't connect with them enough over time, they start to drift away because they're like, oh, well, that person, they think of me thinking, oh, well, that person doesn't even, like me being around. But that's not it at all. It's just, I don't need that. I don't need that to feel connected to somebody. But over time, I've realized that not everybody is that way. I am certainly unique-ish in my ways of that, and I've tried to do my best to stay connected to people. Which leads me to a tangent of, well, you moved so far away from where all your friends were and everything, but honestly, that hasn't been an issue at all, because I really didn't have any actual, I don't want to say any actual friends, because I definitely have actual friends down there, but I didn't have anybody that I needed to see in person in order to maintain a connection with, that I wanted to maintain a connection with. The people that stopped talking to me because I wasn't around is pretty much people that I became friends with them because I had to. Like, I became friends with them because I went to school with them. I became friends with them because I worked with them. These were people that it's a different kind of friendship to me. It's friendship because you're forced to be around people. You have to be around them all the time. and you have to be around a bunch of people that you don't like, you have to find some people that you at least have some bit of agreement with, some shared hobbies, or something that can, like, kind of form a little bit of a bubble around you, can keep you from feeling like there's just nobody around that you want to be around. Unfortunately, those friendships, I think once you remove yourself from that situation, end up not being very strong. And that's definitely a case that I've noticed. Like, the friendships that I made down there, the friendships that I had had made over the years, they weren't, for the most part, friendships that I had made because they were people that I truly, you know, agreed with or got along with or cared about. They were people that I just became friends with because it was necessary. It sounds cruel. It's just kind of how it is. And as I do what I do now, I take that knowledge with me. I take my experiences with me there. Like, I know better how to kind of judge which people are truly people that I want to be friends with, and the people that I truly, you know, just want to be acquaintances with. I think in the last few years, I got a little too antsy. I got a little too almost obsessive with the idea of I need to make friends with people that do what I do. I have to befriend people that are streamers or YouTubers or whatever, because I need to be around the people that do the same kind of stuff that I do, so that I can actually have people to talk to, and don't glaze over when I start to talk about that kind of stuff. Because trying to talk about making videos or streaming or whatever with pretty much anyone that I knew before I, you know, really started to do this stuff, I can see them die inside when they talk about it. It's just like when they start to talk to me about football and I die inside, I can tell I'm having that same feeling. So yeah, I definitely, and especially as I got more involved with Minecraft, I was trying to really be there for many people, trying to befriend a lot of people, trying to do collaborations, try to help other people with their content and stuff like that. And I'm pretty sure that drove me crazy. I'm pretty sure that was nothing but a huge mistake. So over the last year or so, I've pulled back a little bit. I've definitely pulled back from a lot of people, and it's not a matter of, well, I didn't like those people. It's a matter of those people were, to me, those same coworkers that I kind of got along with enough, and they do the same thing as me. Well, yeah, I guess we're friends. So yeah, I tried to rein myself in there, and I think that's been really good for me. Not just for me personally, it's also really helped me feel a lot more comfortable with what I do. Because not everybody that does this same profession as me has the same perspective. In general, the people that I feel like I've really befriended are the people that are like, yeah, you do whatever you want. I'm not going to tell you how to live your life. Those are the people that I tend to really appreciate. There's a difference between supporting somebody, supporting what they do, and coaching. And I think a lot of people end up confusing the two. They think that coaching somebody is supporting them. And I do think that they can tend to be different things. Overall, I think in the last year or so, one of the things that's really helped me feel like my content has gotten better. The streams have. I feel like the quality of the things that I make has gotten better. Is that I kind of retook myself. I retook my brand, I guess. I focused on the things that I wanted to do, and I focused on the things that let me express myself. It did mean not doing as much, or very little, actually, collaborative stuff. And that's, that has its pluses and minuses. If it wasn't for collaborations, I would be absolutely nobody still. There is no way that I ever would have found, that an audience ever would have found me without collaboration. I see so many people within my general community that I go, I remember that they were part of Good's community, and now they're here. They were part of Kurt's community. Well, now they're here also, and just the different little crossover points over time. So yeah, even though I feel like that was a really important part of where I am now, I feel like kind of pulling back away from that a little bit let me really push forward to the streams or to the videos or to everything what I actually was, like where the real me was under there. And much to my surprise, I think that kind of helped. Like it helped form a connection to the stuff that I make. And overall, I'm super happy with that decision. I'm happier. Nothing makes me more anxious and uncomfortable than large group content, large group calls, just trying to mix personalities and stuff like that. It's not me. I get hidden, like my personality goes away, their personalities take over, and I'm not collaborating with their content, I am just broadcasting their content. That's why, for me, kind of backing away from that stuff has been a really important part for me. And I know people do miss it. I know there are people that miss that side of things, but for me personally, it has been a really big improvement. And then, of course, there is also the fact that I moved away from doing gaming videos, which really also became putting a huge focus on streaming. I have dedicated myself now to having a nice regular streaming schedule, and I've been pretty darn good about it too. I'm surprised, honestly, how well I've adapted to having a schedule again, or having a schedule period. I do miss the process of that. Like, I miss making that content, but I don't miss the feeling of trying to promote it. I don't miss the feeling of trying to make it a thing. It always felt very hollow to me. There was never that enthusiasm that we get with the gaming stuff on Twitch, and that was the main motivation for me. That was the main motivation to move away from that. If it wasn't motivating me, I wasn't going to be creating as good a stuff, and what's the point? So, yeah, moving away from that stuff, I think, is another thing I would attribute to feeling a lot better about this internet lifestyle of mine. I don't think I would ever have gotten to the point of feeling really good about this stuff if I hadn't done that. So I was sad to do it, but I'm happy that it worked out as well. I am really happy that it worked out and people accepted it. I didn't really have hardly any kickback to that. Like, people just were like, yeah, okay, that makes sense. let's do it. And forward we went. I was super nervous about pushing Formula One to Twitch, but even that has worked out amazing. That whole process, everything about that went really well, has been a positive, and I couldn't be happier with that decision. I certainly didn't create as much last year as I wanted to as far as video stuff goes. I didn't make, I want to say, a quarter of the video that I intended to make. A lot of that came down to budgeting. Like, creating that kind of content, I pretty much do that, as a hobby. That's making videos is something that I do purely as a hobby. So I kind of have to keep myself checked as to how much time I dedicate to that stuff, especially since I tend to always be in an equipment chase. Streaming wise, equipment in the last year, I think we have nailed a setup. I am very grateful to everybody, Magnet, ZK, countless others, I'm sure, that have helped me nail down the stuff that I need to stream regularly and not really worry much about it. Whether it be gaming streams, whether it be garage streams, whether it be IRL streams, whatever. If I want to do it, I can do it, and I can set it up quickly. And that's been great. Video stuff, I don't think I feel quite as confident about. Today's a perfect example, because I posted on Discord that, hey, it's 8-year anniversary, what should I do? Actually, I said convince me to not go get chicken, because that's what I'm doing today. Well, upon saying that, someone was like, oh, well, you should do a Cone on the Road on the way up there. And I was like, no, that's a good idea. I haven't done one of those in forever. I'm sure I could ramble for hours. And I started the hunt for a GoPro, the mic adapter for the GoPro, hooking up the GoPro to the phone so I can see the shot, which I haven't done because it wouldn't work. Couldn't find my mic adapter, so I'm using the wireless mic with a personal recorder and a GoPro hooked up to an external battery, because the batteries have all died for the GoPro. It was an hour and a half of struggle bus there trying to set up to record this, and that's one of those barrier of entry things that frustrates me to the point in which I just don't do things. If there's enough of a barrier there to start doing something, then I won't do that thing, and that's a bummer, because I wanted to do that thing. This lad's way. They've got places to be. Very important people, I am sure. That's one area I would like to improve. I am excited for the prospect of the year ahead, where I will have hopefully some help with that stuff. It's really difficult to shoot video alone. That is one thing I've always struggled with. Having somebody to hold a camera, to hold a tripod, move a tripod, to hit a record button, that kind of stuff is huge. And one of the only videos I've really ever felt very good about, I had help from a very, very old, 8 years ago actually, old friend of mine, Blade Scavenger, back in the day, for anybody that's been here for the full 8-year haul. He helped me shoot that 240 introduction video, and I was so much happier with that because I had some help. Well, in the year ahead, I will have somebody around to help, and I'm looking forward to that, because I'm hoping that together we can hopefully improve the quality and lower that barrier of entry, like lower that like the stress level of trying to create video content. There's no shortage of things that I want to try and make video on in the year ahead. I want to continue to do ramp truck updates. I want to continue to do 240 progress updates. I want to return to autocrossing this year, assuming the world is less on fire. There's a lot of things. Who knows what other projects I want to do? There's a lot of things that I want to document, and now that I feel so much more comfortable with the idea of documenting them for me, making videos because I want to, as a hobby, as an art, instead of for a living, it makes me excited to do that stuff. It really does. Saying that kind of reminded me that I also attribute feeling very good about what I've done in the past year. I feel like my commitment to making my content an escape was a really great decision. I am so very happy that I managed to not only do it, like I fully committed to making sure that the stuff I was broadcasting, the entertainment I was creating, was escape content. I wanted it to be something that took your mind out of the doom scroll, because I'm a sufferer of the doom scroll. I very much so get into rhythms of I just can't stop consuming the negative content out there. So I didn't want to be part of that. And maybe some people would say that's like spineless of me to do that. But I don't know. It was just something that was always important to me. It's important to me that people can find joy in their lives through sharing experiences with me that don't have to do with current events. I hope my commitment to that has been a positive for people. It's not that I don't care. Don't ever think that it's a matter of I just don't care about the world that's on fire around us. It's just that I placed some responsibility on myself to try to help other people just get through their days in some way, in some possible way. And a lot of that also is in like trying to manage a community that, you know, we're a pack of hundreds of people now, and I think there is still that strong compulsion within people to try to get a reaction. Even if you're not a content creator, even if you're not somebody that, you know, streams or makes video for a living or whatever, there's still that compulsion to try to be the person that gets a reaction from people. And I understand that. I respect the idea that, you know, it's a good brain feeling to get a reaction out of people. But at what cost? Like at some point there's a cost to that, to everyone's sanity. And I would like to say thank you to everybody that is part of the hundreds of people that is within our, you know, core community there, for committing to that with me and trying your best to create an environment that is just good for people. That's what I care about, and that's what I've wanted to do, even if it is sacrificial to what I do. It's an important thing to me, and it will continue to be an important thing to me. I don't see a lot of changes coming in the year ahead. There's so many things that I still strive for and still want to do, and there's things that I look forward to doing. But as of now, I feel like I'm in a good place, and I'm gonna continue to do pretty much what I do, how I do it. There will be changes, obviously, as I will have to readapt. I've gotten pretty used to living alone, and I've always wanted that. And I'm glad that I got to experience that. Maybe not for as long as I would have enjoyed. I wish I could go back in time and have more time that way, but you can't change the past. It's not where that road went. It's not a big secret that I do have somebody else in my life now, and she will be joining the household with me in the not terribly distant future, trying to adjust to keeping my routines and keeping on top of stuff with that in mind. It's a daunting task, but it's something I've done before. I worked around roommates' schedules. I've worked around roommates and their families waltzing in and out. I've worked around Slag sliding his chair through the hallway into my room as I'm trying to record something. I think I'll adapt to that pretty well. But it is something that, it's a mental shift. I am such a routined person that I have definitely gotten myself into a rhythm now of how I push through my day, and here's the things I need to do. And if I get to the end of the day and I haven't done those things, then I feel unsatisfied. So there will definitely be a little bit of adapting there, but I'm looking forward to that just as much. I'm looking forward to, sharing those experiences with somebody else and gaining somebody to hold the camera. There's not a solid reason. I'm telling you right now, if you're out there listening, forming a relationship solely for the purpose of getting somebody to hold the camera for you is not a solid foundation, okay? But it's pretty good, okay? I'm just saying, it's a pretty good side effect. I have asked of people quite often for privacy, and a lot of that is confusing because I am very much so an open person. I share a lot of details about my life, a lot of details about the way I think. I'm very open about stuff because that's why I do it. Like that's where I get my enjoyment out of it, is sharing my experiences, sharing my thoughts, sharing the things that happened in my life to get me to where I am now. Like that's a very large factor into the enjoyment in all of this. So yeah, I mean, I do like to be very open about that. But there's a difference between somebody being open about what they want, or open about what they're doing, or open about their experiences, and prying into those experiences. And maybe other people are more comfortable with that than me. I'm not sure. Like, there's certainly people on the other end of the spectrum there that will flat out get angry if you pry into portions of their life at all. I'm not as much that way, but to me it's always been even outside of content, even in real life, it's just disrespectful to pry into somebody's personal details, because I just feel like if somebody wanted to share something with me, then they would. And I just try to make sure that they are comfortable enough with me that they feel comfortable to share those experiences or thoughts or emotions with me. And I don't think that everybody gets that. I don't think that everybody just thinks that way. I think some people don't have that. Maybe they don't have that respect for me. Maybe they don't have that respect for anybody else. It's possible. It's possible that they just don't have that same level of respect for people's lives. And maybe that's because of, reality TV and sitcoms and just dramas and things like that depict people being much more open books than they are. I do think fiction leads people to believe that in general people are a lot more open than they are. and that there's just no, it leads people to believe that there's no barriers, that there's no need to be wary of prying into others' details. Overall, people have been very good about it. I mean, there's been a couple of times that I've had to be like, hey, calm down. Just back off a little bit here, okay? But overall, I think I do things in a way that I frankly, I don't know anybody else that does it. Like, I'm not part of any other communities that operate quite in the way that I do mine, where I am part of the community. Like, I am not a figurehead of anything. I am just somebody that is in the group talking, and that's how I always want it to be. I never want to be the figurehead of anything. I don't want to be the person that everyone's looking up to. I just want people to look at me eye to eye, and that's a decision I made very early on, and I have desperately tried to maintain. It gets me in trouble sometimes. It gets me into situations where people create uncomfortable situations for me, for others. It happens, but it's still worthwhile to me. It's still worth it to maintain that level of comfort, that level of trust, or not even trust. I don't trust anybody, but just that level of communication with everybody. That's really something that I feel is really important. I'm very torn about the future of video content. I'm so torn because I've witnessed the way that it's going right now. And the way it's going is, if you want to make automotive content, it's more. It's new. You have to stay fresh. You have to keep pushing out new stuff. Finishing projects isn't important. People don't want to see finishing projects. People don't want to see the nitty-gritty. They want to see the beginnings of everything and not so much the end of anything. That's the way that people are being successful at making video content these days. And I'm just not interested in that. I want to display the whole process, start to finish, no matter how long it takes, no matter if it takes me years. It has taken me years to get anywhere with the 240, and that's not because it's like too complicated of a project. It's not because we can't do more. It's because I just haven't been in a position to do more. And that's okay with me. That's a forever project for me. The Ram truck is very much so the same way. Like, yes, I want to progress with it, but it's just going to take time, and it's always going to take time. And I don't think I am going to change what I do to try to chase that trend. I think I'm just going to keep kind of plodding along with the same style of doing video that I've always done, the same, just sharing progress as we go along. I have to again be so thankful that Twitch has been so good for me. Even though I hate Twitch as a company, I think they are, honestly, to the bottom of my heart, I think Twitch is a worse company than Google/YouTube. I think Twitch is one of the worst organizations that I've ever been involved with, as far as the things that I truly care about. And the things that I truly care about is respect of humans. I don't like companies that they don't see people as humans, they see them as profit margins. And Twitch to me is a company that, especially over the last few years, has become an organization that they don't get it. They don't get it that humans are the reason that their company exists. They don't get it that humans are the creators of the things that let their company continue to exist. They don't get that humans are the people that consume the content that they, profit on, basically. They just don't get it. And I don't think they ever will. I really don't. I have zero hope of Twitch ever being better about that. The best I can do is just try not to be involved with them in any way possible. I've said this so many times before, and I'll say it again right now. Twitch is a service for me. I do not bleed purple. I do not buy in to what they're selling. I simply use their streaming platform to host my content. And that is the extreme of our relationship together. That is all that it will ever be for me, and that's all that I will ever be for them. And if that's not good enough at some point, I have no problems moving on. I have known since day one that stability was never something doing this for a living was going to include. And if there's a dozen changes from now till 10 years from now as to how I do what I do here, that's perfectly fun and understood. That's perfectly fine and understood by me, and I am not surprised in the least. I think that's about all I can figure out how to ramble about as far as the looking back on 8 years and the last year, and looking back on the move, and looking back on the move to streaming more and all the stuff. I know for a lot of people it's been very hard times. I know for a lot of people things don't look very bright right now. But I hope to be able to continue to provide some little bit of glimmer in somebody's day moving forward. That's all I want. I used to really chase the idea of like success in this stuff, chasing the idea of that exponential growth. I don't chase that anymore. All I chase is the ability to continue. The ability to continue to make somebody feel better through their day, through me sharing my experience with something. Gameplay, life, working on a car, working on the house, whatever. Thank you all for joining me for a drive today. I'm almost to the point of going to get my PDQ for the first time in a long time. First time I've gone on my own accord in years, which used to be the staple of going on the road. It's a bit longer of a trip now than it used to be, but I love driving, and I love shooting the breeze with y'all. So thanks for joining. Have a good one. Thanks for your support, and I'll see you later. And please, for the love of GoPro, recommend me some better small action camera that has a mic jack on it. That's all I want. That's all I need right now. I just need it. I hate GoPro so much.